Former Packers linebacker Brady Poppinga is back in Titletown. He's signing copies of his new book titled The True Spirit of Competition. You will have plenty of opportunities to meet him and get a book and get it signed. But first, Brady is here in our studio this morning. Brady Poppinga, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Rachel.
Nice to see you back in Titletown.
It's great to be back here to take in Lambeau, the Mystique. It's fantastic, to be honest with you.
So you were here, correct me if I'm wrong, 2005 to 2010?
You got it right, Rachel. How about you?
Yes, I did my research last night. Oh, I've been here a long time.
Well, yeah.
So let's talk about the book and how it tells the story of your life, even from the beginning when you were, you knew from the very beginning you wanted to play football.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a book that obviously with the title True Spirit of Competition, the theme is competition and how it related to my life. And there was two major sub-themes, you could say, of competition. One was, in my youth, I competed from a dark place, you could say, somewhat of a place of insecurity to where basically the end-all result is all that mattered to me. Did I win or did I lose? What led to that didn't factor in. And I over time, and as a matter of fact, when I went on my mission to Uruguay for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I had a whole perspective shift of competition, and I realized that it was more about the process. And so when I shifted my focus from the end result-based approach to a process-based approach, not only did my level of performance increase, but so did my, obviously when your levels of performance increases, so does your achievements. And so I was able to achieve more. And then I tell a number of different stories about how that interrelated with certain competitive situations that are on the field of competition.
Yeah, I was going to say, you get pretty specific about some of those instances where you're hitting hard, even as a young player, and how you felt about that, and why you did it, and then what your coaches talk to you about that? Sure,
yeah, and so, you know, the book, even though you're going to look at it and think, oh, it's just for athletes, and when you use the word competition, many of us assume that you have to be on this official field, court, or course to compete, when in reality, we compete all in our lives. And there's a chapter in my book that specifically hits on that when I went down to Uruguay in the most, you could say, unofficial competitive arena possible, because I wasn't going to play sports. I was going to be of service to the people of Uruguay, and I had to learn a new language. I had to assimilate to a new culture. I didn't know anybody. And I chose in that moment to utilize the same principles that helped me on the field of competition to be successful, to learn the language, such as, first and foremost, you just got to go for it. A no fear kind of attitude. Secondly, is you got to approach it where you're going to just say, hey, I'm taking it head on, because when you're learning a new language, as many people probably experience with those that are learning maybe English, you come across as sometimes maybe a little dumb. And so I had people laughing in my face. I try to speak in their language. They'd laugh right at me and point right in my face. And you just had to have a resiliency and a faith in yourself.
You couldn't tackle them, Brady.
No, I had to be patient. and over time, though, after just taking that head on and not really worrying about what they thought of me, I eventually mastered the language. So much so that I was hired last year on Fox Deportes as one of their main commentators. We made history. We covered the Super Bowl in Spanish, all Spanish graphics, all Spanish production for the first time ever. And I was part of it. And so a lot of that was due to the fact that I took what I learned on the field of competition and I applied it in other areas that you would say aren't official kind of competitive arenas, although, and that's the point of the chapters, we're all competitors. And so the book applies to everybody. And the last sub-theme has to do with my identity. I identified myself with the end result. When I had the end result-based approach, when I won, I was the winner. When I lost, I was a loser, a failure. When in fact what I learned with the process-based approach is in fact who we are isn't subjected or isn't limited to just words. Our vocabulary in and of itself doesn't even have a word that can fully take in or encompass the totality of who we are. And so basically being a winner isn't who we are, it's the way you operate. Being successful is the way you operate, it's the way you function, it's the choices you make. And then the last chapter talks about how that relates with Little League. And then there is a chapter, I skipped over it, one of the most important chapters for the Packer Nation, is it describes in detail how we won the Super Bowl in 2010 based off of a culture of competition I talked about. My competitions personally, and then I'd go into the probably most visible competition, and that was between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and how they competed.
Yeah, that was interesting. I found that to be an interesting
basis.
part of the book. What do you think about the 2014 Packers?
Well, obviously Aaron, he's an MVP today because of Brett Favre. And I'm not saying, you know, Aaron should just tell Brett thanks and, you know, take all the credit for my play. But a lot of what Aaron does is because he was able to sit under one of the best quarterbacks in all of the NFL and learn how to be an elite quarterback. And that was because of a healthy, competitive relationship that those two shared. And that goes right along with the books. And I mean, he should win the MVP. Aaron, bottom.
Well, we all agree with you.
They're saying J.J. Watt.
We all agree with you.
Who's crazy here? No, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's playing at an all-time high. I mean, he's playing at an MVP level, and I'd be shocked if he didn't win it.
Yeah. I agree. Brady Poppinga is going to be all over Northeast Wisconsin over the next 4 days. Here's a quick look at where he's going to be today. He'll be at Boss's in downtown Green Bay, selling the book. Oh, that was a quick flash of you and your brother on the beach. We never got to that picture. Boss's in Green Bay from 11 to 1. John's Hallmark in Ashwaubenon near Olive Garden from 4 to 6. He'll be at the Packers Pro Shop tomorrow. For all the dates and times, go to our website, fox11online.com. Click on Good Day Wisconsin. Brady, thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure, Rachel. Enjoy